chapter, in the 15th verse, is speaking about the foxes. And it says, quick, catch all the little foxes before they ruin the vineyard. Okay, a vineyard is a place that where there are vines in a yard. Okay, and it's speaking about the grapes on the vine. Okay, so we know that foxes are, as some people call them, sly, cunning varmints that would go into a vineyard and destroy the vines. Okay, so if the vines are destroyed, that means the fruit will be destroyed and will not be able to be harvested because it will waste away on the vines. So anything that we allow in our life to continuously snag us are things that can destroy us or our ability to produce the fruit of the Spirit. The little foxes that are spoken about in this verse are the small things we often ignore. Okay, I say that again. The foxes in our life that we're supposed to catch are the small things that we often ignore, the little things and the details that go unchecked, the things that we refuse to deal with. Okay, so these could be things in your personal life, and most time they are in your personal life, in your personal way of doing things, your personal habits, what you allow to go on in your life, and you know that they are wrong, but you don't do anything about them. You don't go and you don't check it. Okay, even when your conscience may bother you about what you're doing or how you're talking or how you're treating people, you just ignore it. Okay, and while these pesky and annoying things keep going on in our life, we tend to dismiss these little foxes in our lives, and sometimes you have the feeling, say, well, ain't no big deal. I've heard people say, well, that's just the way I am. That's just how I do it. And then most of the time when they're really on the defensive about changing or the fact that they're not going to change, say, well, nobody don't have no heaven or hell to put me in. God is my judge. Well, that's what he's doing now. He's trying to judge the house of God, judge the people of God, so that they won't have to be corrected in a judgment. Okay, because the season that we're living in now is as the Bible says, a perilous time, because we are living in the world and we're exposed to the evil in the world, but we're not supposed to be of the world. We're not supposed to be allowing the spirit of the Lord of the world, the spirit of the world to connect with us to the point where we come up under or we come subject to its rule and sway of the world. A lot of people talk about how you can't tell a saint from a sinner these days, and they're talking about by the dress code. And that may be true, but I can say personally, when I first got saved, yes, I went to an apostolic church and they were very strict in the dress code, as were with Pentecostal people. So it wasn't really any different. When you were born again, your dress code changed. Your dress changed. And sometimes even went as far as you couldn't wear pants, you couldn't wear makeup, and you couldn't wear jewelry anymore. But that identified the born again believer with the faith. But I can say I've been saved for 40 plus years, but I say in that time God has kind of loosened that standard. Okay, not saying it was sin to wear the pants or sin to wear the jewelry, but different ministers or different leaders said that, well, you're not going to do it. And I could say God gave us some grace. He gave us some grace when he allows us as women to wear pants and to wear jewelry and a little bit of makeup. Now, I'm not saying that we need to wear a lot of heavy makeup like the world does, but I can say that he allows some grace in some areas. But what has happened most of the time, because he does it, people can take advantage of his grace and his mercy. And we're not just talking about the dress code. I just brought that up because that was an identifying characteristic of people that had went through a change in their life. That most of the time, like I said, the churches that were teaching that gospel message, where the anointing was in the services and the gifts of the Spirit were in operation, there was a drastic change in the lifestyle, and I said the dress code of those that were born again. But today you can't tell. The saints are wearing the same thing that the world is wearing. The saints, the women wear tight dresses just like the women in the world wear. tight dresses. They wear low cut dresses with their bosom showing just like the world does. But it's up to the individual person to